right, thank you so much for joining our interview today.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, today we're going to be talking about one of the special major that a lot of people may be interested in. And yeah, before we begin, could you briefly introduce yourself to the audience?
So hi everyone, I'm Ito Tane. I am an alumni from NJIT. I graduated this year, May of 2022, with a degree in undergrad of information technology, and I specialized in web development.
Oh, wow. Okay, so yeah, let's just talk about your major. Information technology, I think a lot of people also call it as IT, right?
Yeah.
So can you explain what your major is like?
With NJIT, it's a little bit different than you might see it at other schools. Overall, the IT major, goes into the hardware of IT, the computers, the networking, the security. But then NJIT lets you have that specializations of, oh, well, now I want to do network security. Now I want to do game design. They have like media development, or like me doing like web applications, web development. So you really got to get a grasp of IT as a whole, and they sprinkled in a little bit of web development in there. But then you got to decide after your second year what you wanted to specialize in.
Okay. So I think you briefly mentioned about like couple of specialization that you can take in IT field at your school, right? And obviously you talked about the web designing as your major at NJIT. So yeah, what is web designing?
When you have web designing or web development, you have three different parts. You have the front end, which is the visuals. When I click a button, it does XYZ. You have the back end, when I'm getting that request, when a user logs in and you want to check the information that they put in, does it match up with the server? So that's a little bit of what the back end does. And then you have full stack, which someone who knows how to do both, who knows, okay, I'm going to do the back end, I'm going to do the data logic, and I'm going to do the front end logic. What happens when a user logs in from their phone? How should it look like? What happens when they log in from a desktop? How it should look like? And of course it goes much deeper into it where, let's say booking a restaurant, like a reservation, that's a web app. That's something that you're going to the restaurant, you're having a conversation with the computer saying, hey, I would like to have a table at this time. Do you have something available? And the computer checks for you and says, yeah, I do. Which table do you want? That's what changed from calling up the restaurant and saying, hey, can I get a table?
Right.
It's made things more efficient. And even, Netflix, for example, that's also a web app. Whether, you're seeing it on your phone, you're seeing it on Safari, Firefox, Chrome, you need to have a web developer that can develop that media player, making sure that when you log in, you have a subscription, you're allowed to see the content, and also all that logic behind it. So there's so much to it. So when you have websites, they're usually either static or dynamic. Static is, let's say a restaurant, for example, you have a menu that doesn't change often. You don't need the site to be updated as frequently. Where dynamic, Facebook is a great example. You always have people posting new things. The website is always updating, new post. So dynamic is always changing, where static doesn't change as much.
Okay. There, we just talked about a couple aspects of IT and what's really inside of IT and how it really plays an important role in our lives. Yeah, I think it was very important to just go over the general overview of IT. And let's just talk about your experience. You're an alumni at NJIT, and I'm pretty sure you're not staying in NJIT anymore.
Yeah. I guess my experience while I was at the school, it really depends what you make of it. Some people will go to a $60,000 school or private school and they'll say, oh, I got the greatest professors, I got the greatest this, greatest that. Or go to a public school where, it's whatever, $32 a year. And, sure, the professors may not be as great, but it's really what you can take, afterwards, that information that, they sort of give you that initial breadcrumb, and then you can, finish the rest of it.
Yeah, let's just talk about like some of the internships or any co-ops that you did during the school year.
So I did one internship, and it was with a nonprofit called a Freebird organization. They're an organization that prioritize in art therapy for kids who have cancer. So whether it's painting, dancing, singing, they did to the clientele. But for me, I was a part of their IT team where we were making sure the website was working. We were updating the website with all the data that need to be fixed. Actually implementing forms, so when someone wanted to join the organization or they wanted to sign their kid up for it, they would be able to go to that website and fill out the form real quickly.
Wow.
And then whoever on the HR or the organization side can view that data that we present to them.
Yeah, that's a great. You said it was a nonprofit, right?
Yeah.
I think when you're working in like a nonprofit organization, whether it's internship or work, I think that the work that you do are very meaningful a lot of times, and I just think that it's really important to just also have that type of aspect when you're working or when you're doing an internship. It's very important to also do something that is meaningful, whereas just working for experience and money. I mean, that's important too.
Yeah.
But if you are able to work and produce the result that could really help a lot of people, I think that's just amazing.
Yeah. And also, right, with a nonprofit, no one is there for the money. Everyone is there to help the cause, to help.
Right.
I mean, some people are there for the experience and this and that, but like still at the end of the day, like the people you're working for, they're not there to make money off anyone. They're there to help. So actually I learned a lot from it. I got to learn a lot from how you work as a group, and at least when it comes to the coding side, all of my projects were small projects with like 3 or 4 people. But now I was working with a team of 10 people, and what happens when 10 people are uploading code to the same website? What happens there? So it was nice to get that organizational sense from there, and getting the experience of working with a bigger team.
I guess you didn't get paid during the internship, but like you said, I think it's really important that you learned valuable skills that you wouldn't have learned without having that internship. So yeah, I think that's very great.
Yeah. And also what you learn from the internship, that work experience. Usually when you go for a job, they'll sort of say like, oh, okay, you've worked with a big team, so we don't have to teach you how to work with a team. Of course you'll have to adapt to how that team operates.
Right.
But when it comes to daily stand-ups and talking amongst managers, coworkers, people above you, people below you, that's something that you can really only learn from experience. You can't learn that from reading a book. You need to find something that you love to do in life. When I was in my undergrad, I had a professor this was a 3rd-year class, and he said, anyone who's here for the money, who said that mommy and daddy need you to be here to get your degree, I'm sorry, but get out of my classroom. You're here because you like what you're learning. You're not here for the money. You're not here because you just need to get a degree. IT isn't something that you just learn because it's easy, you make a lot of money from it. You're in IT because you want to learn, because at the end of the day, if you don't like programming and 5 years down the line you're pulling your hair out because you have to program day in, day out, don't do that to yourself. There's no personal need to chase the money. Yes, of course we all like to have money, but you have to think about yourself 30 years down the line.
Right.
If somehow you're still programming for 30 years and you hate programming every single day,
That's rough.
it's a lot of self-hatred there.
Yeah.
But so just my main mantra is do what you love, the money will come.
Because you did internship throughout your college year, and you also now have a job at Deloitte. That's amazing. I'm very happy to hear
thank
that.
you.
As a person who is now done with college, and as a person who got a job and work as a full-time worker in an IT company, what is like your recommendations to any upcoming college student, high school students who are about to go to college?
You want to go where you're going to be comfortable for your next 4, 6, 8, 10 years, however long the degree you're going for is.
Right.
But again, I know there are some people who, we always have financial burdens. If you need to go to community college for 2 years, then you go to finish, your degree at an actual school. Do that. I mean, that's what a lot of kids did at NJIT. A lot of them came from Bergen Community. They did their 2 years there. They got their associates, and then they finished their bachelor's at NJIT, or I'm pretty sure at Rutgers as well.
Yeah. As an IT major student who has a full-time job, right? What is like your daily schedule like when you were doing the work?
Yeah. So right now, my project is 45 hours a week. So we sign on around 8 o'clock, and we'll get the work assigned to us around I mean, it depends, but usually around like 9 o'clock.
Mm.
And within that time, whatever, I'll go make breakfast. And my job is fully remote, so.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's
so
amazing.
so I don't have to do that commute, that 9 to whatever, going
Yeah.
to the office, stuff like that. Right, that depends per person.
Mm.
But usually, I'll wake up around. I should be waking up earlier, but I'll wake up at 8. When we're supposed to start, and I'll sign on my computer. I'll see any messages that I had, and then I work throughout the day. I'm talking with coworkers. We say, okay, hey, after we finish this one thing, let's go take an hour break. We'll come back. And we're usually done around like 5 o'clock. And then, once 5 o'clock, comes around and I'm done with work, either I'll, be playing games with friends from back home or, wherever around the world. Or sometimes I'll go out and get dinner with coworkers.
Yeah. Oh, that's very nice. I just really like the fact that it's remote, like fully
Yeah.
remote.
Yeah.
So that means you don't have to like commute at all to like your workspaces.
Yeah. I mean, Deloitte is a little different. We're not required to come into the office, but if you want to go to, let's say, Deloitte has an office in Morristown.
Oh wow.
And if you want to, work in Morristown for the day, even though my home office is in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, I can still book a room in Morristown, walk in, I swipe my badge, whatever, no one really asks. You go into your desk, you work, and that's one of the positives of it is that, with being remote, you get to travel more. But, let's say, even being back home with my parents, sometimes they can be noisy, you get distracted, so you can go to, whatever office you want. Even they have an office at the Rockefeller Center in New York.
Wow.
And so you can just, book a room there as well if you want. Which is, it's a nice option to have.
Yeah.
But I know there are still some companies that, want their employees to come full person, or in person. But a lot of companies, they realized over COVID that we don't necessarily need people to come into the office. And some of them, what they've done is, some of them have closed their office, they've downsized, and they'll give that money back to the employees, and they'll say, okay, whatever, our rent was, I'm just going to throw a number, $10,000 a month. And now we've downsized to an office that's $5,000 a month. So now that $5,000 that we have annually, we're going to give back to the employees, and we're going to say, you can use that as, a work from home allowance, where we'll let you buy a monitor, we'll let you buy something that you want. That makes it more comfortable for the employee to work from home.
Thank you very much for giving information about information technology, like IT, right? I thought it was very nice to hear about like different aspects, which fields there are in IT, what you can choose from there. And also I think just learning about the big benefit of being able to work like remotely, I think that's a big benefit of being, a IT worker. So yeah, I thought it was just amazing to just, hear about your experience, and I hope that a lot of students can find this content informational, and also they can do the same thing once they get to our position. So yeah, thank you very much for being on the interview.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I really appreciate it, and we'll be right back.
Yeah, see you guys.
All right, bye.